Hello and welcome to Second Act, Life at 50 Plus. My name is Ron Beacom. In today's program, we'll go down on the farm and to a farmer's market to find out what it means to eat organic. In our Salute to Seniors, we'll go out on the water to meet Kayak Bob. We'll learn how you can volunteer at tax time, and we'll keep moving with Chuck Cusick. Organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, low sodium, less sugar. What does all this mean, and how should you decide what to put on your table? We'll find out by visiting an organic farm. The Meals on Wheels kitchen in Bay City.
Potato, meat, and vegetable, and each one of us take a turn, and the trays go down the line, we fill it, put it in the packing machine, and the drivers are down there, and they get how many they need.
And a farmer's market.
A lot of people will say that they think the rainbow are sweeter. Yeah. In my opinion, they're all sweeter than anything out of the store, but the rainbow and the orange are both extremely sweet.
A trip to the Midland Area Farmers Market in downtown Midland serves several purposes for Anna Calverley and Sharon Felsky. It's a social outing, and it's an opportunity to buy fresh foods and support local vendors. They agree that finding the right foods is challenging.
Very confusing.
I agree.
I don't know the difference between organic and genetically modified and
green-fed.
Yep.
And like I'm trying to look for food that doesn't have all those chemicals and stuff in it. Try to buy fresh food as opposed to processed food.
Right.
Right by the farmers market, the Michigan State University Extension Service offered a 6-week class called Prescriptions for Health, focusing on how to shop healthy on a budget.
For your fruits and vegetables, look for ones that look fresh, bright and colored, aren't wilted or bruised, and if you aren't sure how they're supposed to look or feel, ask the farmer and they'll be able to help you.
Tara Roberson is the Community Nutrition Instructor for the MSU Extension Service in Midland. She uses a great visual to explain what we should be putting on our plate.
47 cents per serving. So this is called My Plate. My Plate is a visual guideline for people to see the 5 different food groups that we should be eating. So for example, your vegetables is a larger portion of the plate, so we want to be eating more vegetables. Fruits and vegetables together is about half a plate, so we ask people, are you eating half a plate of fruits and vegetables every day? And if you are, you know, how are you doing it? And if you're not, how can we go about doing that more? We also talk about your proteins, grains, and dairy, which are also really important food groups.
And even in time for microgreens.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness, the best day ever.
Sarah Longstreth, the owner of Goodstead Farm, has sold organics for the past 5 years. The farm pays for an extensive review each year by the United States Department of Agriculture to be certified organic.
The focus of organic certification is absolutely no synthetic materials can be applied to your fields, to your animals, to your vegetables. There's a big focus on soil health and system health. So intensive management to make sure that you have healthy soil and healthy animals. So no products are ever really needed to cure sick disease or issues.
Longstreth sells her products at farmers markets, by home deliveries, and through CSA shares. CSA is Community Supported Agriculture. In return for money paid ahead of the growing season, shareholders are given a certain amount of products based on the size of their share each week for 20 weeks. She offers her customers many choices.
So today, the sort of main show are our heirloom tomatoes. We do about 20 different varieties of tomatoes. And then a lot of cherry tomatoes as well. We have our green beans, and we do some heirloom varieties of beans called Dragon's Tongue. A big seller for us also that we have today is our salad greens. So we have baby kale, baby chard, lettuce mix, and then different microgreens that we do. And then, you know, eggplants, sweet peppers are in, carrots, stuff like that, lettuce heads.
The sale of organics is growing year to year, but it's still just a small percentage of the food market. Organics cost more, but Longstreth cites many of the benefits to eating organic.
One is it's a healthier end product in terms of you have guarantees by a third-party organization that no synthetic chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, any of those things are ever being applied to your vegetables or your animals. It means that you have certain guidelines for how animal welfare, how your animals are being raised, being treated, being handled, and being grown and raised.
This is Goodstead Farm in Hope. Like any farm, there's a lot that goes on before you see the end product.
This is our greenhouse. This is our one heated plastic tunnel or greenhouse on the farm. This space is so important because this is where everything on the farm gets its start. Everything that goes out in the field, the lettuces, the zucchinis, the tomatoes, the spinach, everything starts here. So everything is first seeded in this house in early February, and we're continually in here reseeding plants so that we have multiple successions of things all summer long. So we have lettuce all summer long and broccoli all summer long. We're in here February through October seeding new plants that are then transplanted out in the field. So this is one of our unheated high tunnels. We grow in here 12 months out of the year. So this always has some form of food in it. In the summer months, this is where we grow all of our heirloom tomatoes and some of our cherry tomatoes. And this is special because this tall building allows us to set up a trellising system. So all of our tomatoes in here are trellised to the ceiling, trellised to the support systems here. And they are strung up in vertical and trellised and pruned every week, actually. And it's great for tomatoes in here because actually tomatoes don't like to be rained on. So we're really able to control the moisture. It's all drip tape, so they never get rained on. And we're able to control humidity. Hi, girls. You silly birds. Chickens here at Goodstead Farm are organic because they have been managed organically from the first day of life onward. So what that means is we get them shipped actually directly from a hatchery. They're hatched out of the egg and they're immediately put into a mailbox and shipped to us. When they get here, the first bite of food that they've had is organic food. And then they're put on organic land and organic soil. These are organic edamame. These soybeans are meant for direct consumption. They're not meant for processing. So you eat them right out of the shell. And what makes this different from a conventional crop is number one, we're not spraying any insecticides on these. You can see that there is a little bit of leaf pest damage on the leaves. It's very cosmetic. It's not going to do any damage to either the plant or the crop. The other thing too is that when we are planting these guys and when we prepare the soil, we're never using any synthetic chemicals or fertilizers. So what we use to fertilize instead would come from rock minerals, would come from dehydrated bone meal, blood meal, poultry meal. So it comes from dehydrated, reused animal products.
Longstreth is a native of Midland County. She didn't grow up on a farm. She earned degrees in anthropology and women's studies, but her interests later shifted to organic farming. Before purchasing this property, she gained experience working on farms in Maine, Minnesota, and Jordan in the Middle East. In addition to her bees, she works the 23-acre farm with 2 apprentices and other family and friends.
The next name is Terry, T-E-R-R-Y.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Longstreth's aunt and uncle, Debbie and Ken DeShano, help Sarah. They started eating organic even before he got cancer. After surgery and treatments, Ken is doing well now, but given his healthy lifestyle, Debbie wonders what caused his cancer.
He wasn't intentionally eating or drinking or smoking or doing anything that could have this effect. And so when I think environmental, I think about chemicals and pollutants and GMOs. And, you know, what are people doing to our food that we all have to eat? And so, you know, would I blame his cancer on any of these things? Of course not. I'm not a doctor. I can't do that. But is it a concern? Yes.
Some of Goodstead's other customers also cite family as a reason for eating organic.
I think we definitely feel a benefit from it. Another reason why we like doing this is our daughter is a registered dietitian, and she helps us to eat healthier foods, and this is one way of doing that.
I want to know what I'm putting in my body, and Sarah is very open about coming out to the farm and seeing what they're doing, and I just know what I'm putting into my body and my family's body because of the type of farming that she's doing. So it's just important to us to stay healthy.
The primary goal for the Meals on Wheels program is to provide nutrition for persons over age 60 who are homebound or unable to make their own meals. Beef stew, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts are what's being prepared this morning in the kitchen at the Riverside Activity Center in Bay City. About 900 meals each weekday are served at Bay County's 5 meal sites and delivered on 11 separate Meals on Wheels routes. Barb Kreischer is the Nutrition Services Manager. Kreischer and her team have 3 criteria to meet when developing the menu. The first is Dietary Guidelines, which includes serving 1/3 of the recommended daily intake of certain nutrients.
The most questions that I get from the seniors are, you know, the carbohydrates, and on our our monthly Wonderful Times newsletter that goes out, the carbs are listed on the menu so that they can kind of keep track of that. But I would say, you know, fat, sodium, carbohydrate. I mean, there's other things that I have to, you know, be specific about, but those are the 3 that are mainly my, you know, I have to pay attention to.
Another concern is staying within budget. If able, seniors are asked to make a $2.50 donation per meal.
And then we have to make sure that the food is able to be transported and held within a 4-hour time frame. So some foods travel well, like today's meal is beef stew. And then other meals, like we couldn't do like a taco or pizza because it just doesn't transport well.
Kreischer is a registered dietitian nutritionist. She shared her thoughts on food industry trends. Let's start with GMO, genetically modified organisms.
What those are products that where they take the actual plant and they have a characteristic of that plant that they want to breed into another plant. The consumers are very leery of GMO foods, but the reality of it is that the products that you see in the grocery store have some kind of a GMO component, especially corn and soy. Organic foods, they cannot be GMO organisms. So if you're choosing organic, you're staying away from that as well.
Gluten is a protein found in barley, wheat, and rye. For people with a gluten allergy, it can cause problems in their digestive system.
I think the misconception is that gluten is, to avoid gluten is somehow healthier, and that's not necessarily the case. You find, gluten in any kind of breads and baked goods and crackers and pasta, and it comes with a lot of, minerals and vitamins as well as fiber. So to avoid that, just for the sake of you think that that's healthier, it's not necessarily the case.
Kreischer said sodium is a concern because it's hidden in a lot of foods, but she suggests also focusing on potassium.
Monitoring your sodium intake, avoiding those kinds of, prepackaged processed foods, a lot of like lunch meats and, pickles and canned type products, but also increasing your fruits and vegetable intake, because that's where you find potassium, because those two electrolytes, they work together in balancing out the fluid in your body, and that is what has the biggest impact on your blood pressure.
Kreischer steers shoppers towards organics when purchasing fruits and vegetables with thin skins. She boils down her advice to this.
As a dietitian, you know, I counsel a lot of people, but I'm not extreme, and anybody who's, you know, who knows me, I'm a middle-of-the-road kind of a gal. So with all of the recommendations, it's just to find that happy medium, okay? Fresh, you know, fresh produce. No matter if you choose to eat organic or not, I think the message is to eat well, to eat more fruits and vegetables, to eat lean meats.
For more information on organics and other food-related topics, visit the U.S. Department of Agriculture's website. In our salute to seniors, we'll go out on the water to meet a man who's turned his passion into a business that benefits his community.
Put one arm out straight and push the other one back. And so you always be reaching forward. Reach forward. Don't paddle past your waist. It's just wasted energy. So a forward posture. Push it out. Take it back. You guys ready for some fun?
Oh yeah.
All right. Be careful out there.
Thanks, sir. Meet Kayak Bob. Full name Bob Charlebois. The 62-year-old operates a kayak rental service in Pinconning Park, the only waterfront park owned by Bay County. He's retired from a career as an industrial roofer.
Well, this is part of the gig here. Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Back in 2007, while on a trip out west, Bob and his wife Ellen developed an interest in kayaks after seeing some kayakers having fun in the Grand Tetons. After they returned home, they bought their first boats. He's hooked.
You know, it just makes you feel good. There's a freedom with just a single kayak, boy. You just go where you want to go.
Bob points out there's also a health benefit to kayaking.
If you look at people, older people my age, that kayak, they have one thing in common. Their chest is flat, and it's your core is, it's the core of your body, and kayaking works your core. It's not like it's not like you're going to a gym. It's a lifestyle. That is what it is. For me, this is a lifestyle. I'm a beach bum.
Bob's passion has become his job in retirement. The couple has operated cattail kayak rentals since 2012. They pay a stipend to the county each year. Bob's also adopted the park. He's volunteered his time working with county park staff and other volunteers to develop the waterfront. He's an advocate for this playground on the bay, and of course, kayaking.
You being newly retired, what can you tell us about what you like about kayaking?
It's you in the water, you know, and to be in a bayou like this, just to see a second world beneath it, amazing.
Bob's a native of Bay City, but Pinconning has been his home for 33 years. In addition to his work in Pinconning Park, Bob has had a significant role in the construction and development of the band shell in Doc Letchfield Park. Concerts are held there on Tuesday nights during the summer. He books the performers and passes the hat to pay the musicians.
So I have these two areas, this beach and the band shell area, and I just make them my business to make a cool spot. And it seems to be bleeding over into the community. And so we are up in this little town, we have a little bit of traction.
Back on the water, Bob shares one last thought about his passion.
And the light, you probably can't catch it with the camera, but with the with the naked eye, it's just like, oh my gosh. It's a 360-degree view of all these different colors, and it's you know, it doesn't stay the same. It's constantly changing depending on how high the sun is and how hard the wind's blowing. It's quite peaceful and serene.
Tax season isn't too far away. In our next segment, you'll find out where you can volunteer to prepare tax returns and where to get help if you need it.
I am Amber Wachek, and I am the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance or VITA Program Coordinator at United Way of Saginaw County. Throughout Bay, Midland, and Saginaw County, we offer VITA and TCE, or Tax Counseling for the Elderly programs. These programs offer free income tax preparation to individuals and families that generally make less than $55,000 per year. All three counties have a great need for volunteers, both for volunteer tax preparers and other volunteer positions. This is a volunteer opportunity where you could really make a difference in the financial lives of your neighbors. Not only will you help taxpayers avoid high tax preparation fees, but you'll also be helping taxpayers obtain their maximum refund amounts. For example, the average volunteer in Saginaw County last year brought back over $900 in tax refunds and credits per hour they volunteered.
It's basically a great way to volunteer time and to help people in the community and help you know, other coworkers and to do some taxes. These things are very expensive for people, and oftentimes that their refund would be less than it would cost them to prepare a tax return. So it's, you know, a direct infusion of money to them.
You do not need prior tax preparation experience to volunteer with the VITA or TCE program, although it is helpful. If this is your first experience with tax preparation, contact the location that you wish to volunteer with for additional training and materials. Most of the VITA and TCE sites also have a need for volunteers for other tasks besides tax preparation, such as client intake and appointment scheduling. If you're interested in volunteering, you can reach out to the programs at the following numbers. For Saginaw County, you can reach out to United Way of Saginaw County at 989-755-0505. For Bay County, reach out to United Way of Bay County at 989-893-7508. To volunteer in Midland County, reach out to Midland AARP TCE at email address darcytax, darcietax@gmail.com. You don't need to be a tax professional to volunteer with the VITA or TCE program. All you need to do is be willing to learn. We'll provide all training and materials necessary. Again, if you're interested, reach out to the numbers on the screen, or if you're interested in receiving assistance with your tax preparation for the 2019 tax year. You can reach out to any of those contact numbers in January to schedule an appointment or get more info.
Thanks, Amber. Next up, the guy who knows how to keep us moving, Chuck Cusick.
We're entering into the winter season, and we won't be able to play around outside quite as much as we used to. So now we are going to introduce a program that we can do of our exercise at home or at the gym using light weights or even heavier weights if we're up to it. And it's called the Matrix, where we will do 3 exercises or repetitions at a time. The first exercise will be an alternating overhead press. 1, 2, and 3. The second exercise will be the overhead wide press. 1, 2, 3. The next exercise is upright row. 1, 2, 3. This exercise will be a lunge. It'll be a front reaching lunge. We go forward, down, and bring ourselves up. Try to keep your back straight as you go down and up. Go out as far as comfortable for you, and the next exercise will be a lateral reaching lunge, where we go to the side, down and up. Down and up. And 2. See, I'm going straight out to the side. My feet are pointed forward. And the next exercise will be a rotating forward lunge. So I'll rotate, my foot goes out, and I go down. Other side, foot goes out, and I am down. And 3. And last. Good. These next exercises will be a combination of our lunges followed by an overhead press. We'll begin with a front reaching lunge and an overhead press. 3 on each side. Again, remember to keep your back straight and go as deep as is comfortable for you. Now we'll do the lateral lunge. And one more. And we'll follow with the lateral rotating lunge. Foot goes out, I reach down and up. We find this to be an excellent workout for young athletes or older athletes. This is the time of year to not give up on your walking. Remember, the community colleges and the malls are waiting for you to walk around them. Whatever you think, keep on moving.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks as well to everyone featured in our food segment, Kayak Bob, and the tax program. I'm Ron Beacom. Thanks for watching this edition of Second Act, Life at 50+. You can see all of our episodes online. We'll see you again in March.